Cheers.
Cheers.
Skål!
What's up, Internet? Welcome to Once Over. I'm Kaylee, and with me today I have Adam, and we are going to be giving the Once Over to Cry Baby.
This movie's got it. It's got it raw.
There will be spoilers.
Give it a good once-over.
Giving us the once-over.
Giving him the once-over.
Give me a once-over.
Down to give us the once-over.
For a routine once-over.
Once-over. Oh, just once-over lightly.
So, Adam, thank you so much for joining me.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'm so honored. I'm very excited.
Same.
I know that you are a huge movie fan. I would love it if you would tell everybody a little bit about who you are, where they can find you, all of the exciting stuff.
I do like movies, but I make stickers for a living, and I'm in a couple bands, Mantra and Treasure Plate, and we have a show next week, but this will probably be out after that.
It sure will.
And also, you know, I've been into the, you know, Rochester, just like the fact that they have a film scene, you know, and the music scene and all that. Yeah. And I also host a podcast called Noise Appreciation 101, one of the hardest podcast names ever to say. Casually, but you know, if you want to check it out, we're on the gram and we're on Facebook.
Yes, and I will link all of that down below also. Yeah. So you suggested that we review Cry Baby. You want to tell me a little bit about why you wanted to do this movie?
Well, I think I've been watching your videos. Yep. And I was also like, I knew you were in the Isotopes.
Yep.
And this was not on purpose, but I love the movie Cry Baby. So I think subconsciously I made a connection, and I was like, I was scrolling through, I'm like, has she done this one yet? And the answer was no.
Nope.
So I'm like, ha ha! Now's the moment. And this is definitely a movie I will watch, like, just 2 or 3 times a year. Yeah. Just, like, reset my soul in a way.
I totally get that. I had always thought that I saw the whole thing all the way through. I don't think that I ever actually did. I think that I've seen all of the bits and pieces, just never cohesively together.
Right. That's how I saw RoboCop. I still haven't seen RoboCop.
You should sit down and watch RoboCop.
Important.
Yes.
Next time.
Extremely, extremely important. So Cry Baby came out, of course, in 1990, and it was written and directed by John Waters, the Sultan of Trash, the absolutely amazing John Waters.
Outrageous.
Who loves to make movies about Baltimore. He loves to reuse the same actors. He loves to talk about vileness, trashiness, disgustingness.
He likes to show it, too.
And he sure does.
Not so much in this movie, but yeah.
So I would say that this was in his era of doing things a little bit more mainstream. This came out just after Hairspray and just before Serial Mom. It was also produced by Rachel Talalay, who did Freddy's Dead and Tank Girl and Ghost in a Machine. I really like her, actually. She's a great producer. I think she was the producer on all of the Freddy series.
Oh, nice. I know I've heard the name before. So
I think
we're learning today.
Yeah, so exciting.
Good for your brain.
Oh, so great.
Well, you're saying, like, you know, this is his mainstream era, and I was kind of thinking about writers and directors who, when they start to like try to make something mainstream, but they're known for something trashy, that it actually has a bit of potency to it.
Yeah.
Like, look at what James Gunn did. They gave Trauma Guy, and they gave him, you know, gory, filthy, just pushing the boundaries movies.
It's raising love.
And they gave him a tentpole Marvel property to work on. And how well did those turn out?
Amazing.
Right.
So amazing.
So, I can't think of anybody else right now, but that's another example.
That's a perfect example, and I think you're completely right. I think that John Waters, because of his love of the filth and because of his work in the 70s, he is able to do satire and able to talk about societal norms in a way that is entirely different than anybody else is. And I think you're exactly right using the James Gunn trauma example, because when you're in the nitty-gritty of it, you are getting all the criticism. So you see society from a really different light.
Right. That's a good way to put it, too.
This movie definitely has that. Of course, most obviously, this movie stars Johnny Depp as Wade Crybaby Walker.
I thought I recognized him.
I think it's his last
That is it.
Yeah.
But I thought I recognized him from something.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, what's great about this is that, like, this was pre-Ed Wood, but around the thick of when he was known for 22 Jump Street.
Yep.
Or 21.
Yep.
You gonna learn something when we meet you after school.
Somehow, John Waters knew, like, this guy's my goofy guy. Before Ed Wood, he wasn't known as Goofy.
Yeah.
And obviously, with Pirates of the Caribbean, everyone, I mean, that's all he's done since then, pretty much. Yeah. And if he hasn't, he's doing the whole, hi, I'm Johnny Depp thing.
I'm so pathetic when it comes to knowing what movies I've done. I'm sorry. I just, I don't watch them. I feel better not watching them. What was the question again?
The wackiness is his like comedy, and then like I'll be as dry as possible is his drama.
Yes. My understanding of how Johnny Depp got the role is that John Waters went to a magazine place, got all of the teen girl magazines, saw Johnny Depp was on the cover of every single one for 21 Jump Street, and then he offered it to Johnny Depp, and Depp was like, well, I don't want to get typecast, so he was like, yeah, I'll totally do this movie. I have some issues with his performance, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay.
We'll get into those a little bit more as we continue along.
Okay.
I do love seeing him in these earlier works of his. One of the places that I always associate him with, which is probably the movie that I rewatched the most of his, is Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984.
You see his face?
So, yes, I know. That's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I like young Johnny Depp in general.
Who cares what she says?
Yeah. I like Gilbert Grape, but I think I just like that movie.
That's a great movie. That's a very good movie.
I will not do my Leo imitation.
I don't rewatch that a lot, though.
Yeah, it's not exactly a uplifting type flick.
No.
We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
Alternate to him is Amy Locane, who plays Allison, Vernon Williams.
I'm so tired of being good.
There are a lot of songs in this film, so both of them had their vocals, all the singing for their characters, for Allison and Crybaby, are done by other actors who are...
Well, for Johnny, you have James Intveld.
Yes.
Who actually was, he still is, he was a rockabilly musician, and he had a band called the Blasters.
Oh.
So, I mean, I listened to some of that. Pretty good stuff.
Is it good?
Yeah. I mean...
It's rockabilly.
Yeah, and it's authentic. It's not like, look at me, I have the hair and the guitar with the F-hole cut through. Yeah, and then for Allison...
Yes, it is Rachel Sweet.
Right.
I don't know what else she did.
I guess she went for kind of a solo career at some point, but we just don't know her from that.
Yeah.
We know her from this.
This is her infamy. We, of course, have...
For us.
We have a ton of other actors and actresses. There's Ricki Lake. We have Kim McQuire, Traci Lords, who, of course, has many an interesting story. And speaking of interesting stories, we have Patricia Hearst. We have Mink Stole. We have Iggy Pop. We have Susan Tyrrell. Willem Dafoe has a little cameo, which we'll get to as well.
Would you call it a cameo? Because it's pre the Dafoe-ness?
Good point. Of course, most generally, this is a romantic comedy with a lot of music. I wouldn't personally call it a musical because I don't think that the songs drive the plot. I think if you remove the songs, then you still have the same exact movie.
You get the idea.
So for me, it's not a musical. But a lot of people do call it a musical.
Right. Well, for one thing, it's basically a kind of like Romeo and Juliet type movie, but set with like in the terms of Rebel Without a Cause, set in the 50s. The Greasers, also, but known as the Drapes in this movie because they're long hair. And then you have the Squares, which...
I'm dressed as a square today.
Standard nerds.
Right.
My official 1950s garb.
Yes. So they're more the haves and the Drapes are the have-nots.
Yes.
So the music, what I really like about this one in particular is that it could very well delve into two different camps. And it doesn't do this, maybe three. But, you know, you have musicals that are straight up like Chicago. It's all just music from Chicago. Or you have like these jukebox musicals that are really popular now. Like, there's a Billy Joel one. I can't think of the name of it, but like it's just like it's all Billy Joel's music, but like let's put a story to it.
In the middle of the night.
And this not only has a little bit of both, like covers and originals, but it's also got a great soundtrack from the 50s.
I will agree with that.
Like source music.
I love the soundtrack. I will say the original songs don't resonate quite as much for me. I think that the soundtrack is amazing. I love the rockabilly stuff. I love the 1950s pop stuff. It's just perfect for me.
I can barely imagine what you would call music.
Well, one thing I noticed too was that, and I'm not sure if this was done purposely, but when the Squares do songs, they're usually cover songs. And the Drapes do them, the originals. And I'm not sure if that's saying something about authenticity or living with like, oh, this is safer, so we'll do this. And we're going to write our own thing. I'm not sure if that is done on purpose, but I do like that.
I think that that probably was done on purpose. This definitely is a social commentary satire about classism. And we get to see the juvenile delinquents, the Drapes, compared to the Squares, the prim and proper...
In fact, the matriarch...
people,
lovely people. The matriarch is, she runs a charm school.
Yes.
So, there's that.
She's very lovely.
I know, she's great.
She has a great story arc. I love Mrs. Vernon Williams.
Yeah.
Stay away from my granddaughter, you common juvenile delinquents.
I love the intro. I also really like that when they are getting the polio shots, it starts out as like people are like, ow, this hurts and I don't like it. And then after Hatchet Face comes on, it gets a little sexual.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a little sexual still with Wanda, who is of course played by Traci Lords. Yeah. And then it still kind of stays a little sexual with Ricki Lake. I just really like how that scene is done.
Yeah. You get an idea of who Crybaby is because the school truant officers or whatever, the safety patrol are trying to drag him in. He's like, no, I'm a rebel. I play by my own rules type deal.
This was vaccine commentary back in, 1990 apparently.
Really?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think John Waters would do that. I don't think that's on brand for him. So you are correct. Crybaby gets dragged in, and Allison and him, they sit down right next to each other. They get their shots at the same time. They lock eyes. It's very sweet.
And
a single teardrop.
A single tear from Crybaby's face.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we don't know much about the tear yet, but of course, it will become quite known throughout the film. So this is when we actually get to meet the Drapes, and Allison gets to this point where she's like, I'm tired of being good.
Yeah.
I don't want to be good anymore.
She looks at him, put a match stick out in his mouth, and she's like, I'm so sick of being good.
Yeah, it's so funny. And we also get introduced again to Mrs. Vernon Williams, who is played by Polly Bergen, who you mentioned already. Yeah. Again, she owns that charm school. She is Allison's grandmother.
Allison Vernon Williams, get in this car.
Bruh.
Every single character, we meet their parents or we meet their grandparents. Right. Everybody has a relationship with those people.
Yeah.
Let's actually just talk through that a little bit.
Sure.
We have Allison, who of course is a square. However, she is wanting to become a scrape.
Part square, part drape.
And then, of course, we have her grandmother. Her grandmother is Mrs. Vernon Williams. And her parents, we do later find out that they died. They were so cautious that they took 2 separate airplanes when they had to do air travel, trying to make sure that if one of them was in a plane crash, she would not be an orphan. They both died. I think that's a perfect example of how the squares are. The squares are so overly cautious that they are not living, and because they are being so overly cautious, they end up actually not having a life. And I think that the fact that both of her parents had this plane crash.
Their lives are sterile and tacky, I guess you could say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, we are not introduced to his parents. We do get the story. Would you like to tell the story?
I will try my best. His parents went to the electric chair. His daddy was the alphabet bomber. He blew up the airport, the
bank,
barbershop.
That's right.
the car wash, the drive. Was it the drive-in? I don't know.
Drugstore.
That's my favorite. I laugh out loud so much with that. And of course, in Rochester, we had the Alphabet Killer in 1971.
So we relate to it just a little more.
We understand.
Even though we weren't live then.
Yes, exactly.
So they were sent to the electric chair. So they are no longer. That's why he's being raised. He was raised pretty much by his grandma.
And his grandmother, of course, is Ramona, who is played by Susan Tyrrell. Oh my God, I freaking love.
It's hilarious.
Goddamn gophers digging up my front yard.
She's amazing. Have you seen Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker?
No.
Oh.
But now I gotta.
It is the weirdest gay horror movie of the 1980s.
Is there a less weird gay horror movie?
I would say Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is less gay.
Okay.
Than that.
But it's still got,
it's the gay undertones. Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker has no undertones. It's just very gay.
Hey, Julia, I gotta meet Coach after I shower.
And Susan Tyrrell is also in that. She's amazing as Ramona. Ramona has lipstick on her teeth. She's disgusting.
Mean.
She is drape queen to the max.
Right. She talks like this.
Go on, get out of here.
And,
high volume all the time.
And of course, her boyfriend is
Uncle Belvedere, played by
Iggy Pop.
Yes.
Amazing.
The icon.
The icon.
And when you're introduced to him, he's standing in a little like wash tub, fully naked. He's like, "You got me my birthday suit."
What? Naked?
With his legs sticking out, it's just barely covering his privates.
It's so, that is such a John Waters moment.
Yes.
Like that is, to me, that is the epitome of John Waters. That was the 1970s John Waters that we got to see so much of, is this character as being so goofy, but really it's just Iggy Pop probably being Iggy Pop.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love it.
He'd just gotten sober right before this.
Oh yeah, I had.
And he cut his hair for the movie. That's how much he was appreciative.
Committed.
having a career beyond.
I love that.
Yeah.
So next up in the drapes. Oh, we didn't even talk about Pepper, who is of course also
His
in the
sister.
drapes. Yes.
And she has 2 little kids, snare drum and Susie Q.
Yes.
And when we're introduced to her son, snare drum, he's like, I nicked a car today.
Yeah.
She's like, that's my little snare drum.
Yeah.
And Ma, I swipe 6 subcaps like a big girl.
So cute. And she's pregnant.
And she's pregnant.
She's very pregnant.
One thing I gotta say, and if we're okay to talk about this now, is that with Crybaby, you know, he's the rebel, he's the juvenile delinquent. But throughout the movie, if you watch it, he's actually kind of really sweet. Like, he never really instigates anything bad. And when he does, it's when him and the other drapes are driving alongside Allison and her grandmother and her boyfriend Baldwin.
Yes.
And, you know, they're basically playing a game of chicken, but he's singing the Crows G.
Yeah.
Girl, I love that boy, I love that girl. Whatever.
Yeah.
But later, he apologizes for it.
Yeah.
And so it's like he gets all this reputation, but at the end of the day, but also, you know, like even Wanda is one, Traci Lords.
Yes.
She's like,
Crybaby wants some pooch.
he's like, I don't drink and drive.
Yeah.
So like the fact is, like, he's with all these rebellious people, but his rebellion is almost like having his own set of rules, and they're actually pretty wholesome on some regard.
I think that you hit the nail on the head. There is so much social commentary in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think that most of what the commentary is saying is that when you are chaste and good and being the good squares, that really you might be the assholes. The squares are always the one who instigate.
Yeah.
At one point, one of the squares punches Crybaby. At one point, the squares all go over and take over the drapes and vandalize their property.
Yep.
The squares are the ones who are being bad.
Yeah.
And John Waters loves to play with stuff like that, so I definitely think that that is the intent and the theme of this film. Let's talk a little bit about Traci Lords.
It's all right.
Yeah, what about her?
Do you know her history?
I may have heard something about her getting involved in pornography before she was of age and lying about her age.
That is accurate.
What the hell? You got it. Why not show it, man?
So John Waters loves casting people like this. He really, really likes to cast people who truly have gone through hardships, who are folk heroes to some extent. Traci Lords, however, at the time that this movie was being filmed, it was not yet known that she had been lying about her age in order to do porn.
Did not know.
It was discovered while they were filming. So the FBI showed up during filming and was questioning her a whole bunch. And she cites all of the cast and crew as being so extremely supportive to her during this time. Mm-hmm. It was a really scary and terrifying thing that was going on, you know, and I can't even imagine how she was feeling.
I think I knew about this where they started saying, like, oh, I've been arrested before. I've been arrested 3 times. I've been around, like, everyone in the cast and crew was saying something to her.
I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus.
I am so great. I am so great.
She was terrified, unsurprisingly, because I think at filming she was like 21 or 22. Mm-hmm. So it was a few years later at this point.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. It took that long for them to find out.
Yeah. But she's great, and she's absolutely outstanding as Wanda. She does this thing where she purses her lips throughout almost the entire movie. It's so good. It's
And you know,
so good.
I hate to say it, but she's just, like, really pretty in
She's
this movie.
so pretty.
It's all in the eyes, but, you know,
She's
those don't
gorgeous.
change. She still is.
Yeah.
But.
Beat it, creep.
So we do also get to meet Wanda's parents.
My favorite.
Yes.
My favorite.
Wanda's parents, her mom is a crossing guard.
Yeah.
And she is played by Patty Hearst.
Patty Hearst, the granddaughter of the newspaper mogul, Randolph Hearst. Yep. And her story is, in real life.
Yep. So she got kidnapped.
Like you do.
And then she got arrested for bank fraud. There's a whole bunch of details on it. I don't remember all of the details.
There's an iconic picture of her. It was like Stockholm Syndrome, her holding a machine gun or something. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She joined the kidnappers.
Yes,
was the theory.
that's it.
Yes. Yeah, she has a very interesting story as well. And again, you know, Waters loves to cast people like this because he thinks that they're interesting people, which makes them interesting characters.
But she has got to be one of my favorite B characters in the entire movie. Just because she's very much like, as a crossing guard, she's like,
Look left, look right. That's right, then walk.
good teenagers, good.
Yeah.
But also, man, just every one of her, like, I will watch that movie just to see Patty Hearst. And both her parents, and I think her dad's played by David Nelson.
Yes, yeah.
From some classic, like, 50s, 60s sitcom. They're just so oblivious. Like, he's a bus driver, and they're just so like, oh, hey, Wanda.
Wanda, honey, You want to ride home with Dad?
They're the perfect squares, and they have this lovely little drape of a daughter.
Yeah. We heard about you on the radio.
And then, of course, I don't know how we could forget her, but Hatchet Face.
Yes.
Hatchet Face is played by Kim McQuire, and she iconically is a tough girl with an ugly face, question mark?
You're a bitch.
Yeah, I think most of that's the makeup and the way they did her teeth up.
Yeah, the lipstick is high on this side and low on this side. The one eyebrow's up here.
You should have done that.
I was considering it. I decided against it.
I see the want to in your eyes.
I have standards. They're low, but apparently that's the end of
That's
them.
the end.
Yeah. But she's incredible. She is the best kind of character actor that you can have, which is that she embodies her character. Right. Every movement that she does is Hatchet Face.
Sometimes shook up old ladies get cut.
We also do get to meet her parents.
They sell cigarettes outside of the school.
Why not? I pay taxes on cigarettes, don't I?
I think her dad was also in one of those classic, like, Rebel Without a Cause style movies. The trashier side of the drapiness.
Yes.
Yeah, let's
they
put it that
definitely
way.
are. In addition to that, we have... Who's Milton?
Darren E. Burroughs.
Yeah.
I did my homework.
Wow.
Yeah.
Milton is another one of the drapes. He's kind of a throwaway character for me.
Right. It's interesting because, like, you see a lot of movies where there's the male characters and they're supported by the female characters. But in this case, his girlfriend, his steady, is Hatchet Face.
Yes.
And he almost is in the movie to kind of support her.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And
I think
it's really sweet.
His parents are more interesting than he is in this case. His parents are Christian, and they're constantly trying to convert all the drapes to Christianity, to preaching, and they're completely crazy.
Let Jesus Christ be your gang leader.
And that's that Christian conservatism that...
Our only child, and he carries illegal weapons, drives fast cars, and wears clothes obviously designed by homosexuals.
Yeah.
Actually, his father is played by Joe Dallesandro, I think is his name. He was a big Warhol guy, and then he was a gay sex symbol. So he is a gay sex symbol in real life, playing a Christian conservative asshole, which makes it so much better.
Please, Mom and Dad, go home. You're embarrassing me.
Well, it's funny that we're talking about all this because even if I didn't know anything about these people outside of being in this movie, they're still great characters.
Oh, 100%. Hatchet Face's mom is Mink Stole.
Right.
Yeah.
Another icon symbol. Whatever you want to say.
Yeah. And a staple for all the John Waters films. Words are hard. One of the things that I really like when we first get to meet Mrs. Verner Williams is that she is so extremely square that she thinks that even words like cool and hep are vulgar.
Where did you learn those vulgar jazz words?
Yeah. Your poor dead parents would turn over in their grave.
That is the beginning of who she is as a person, and we really get to see her develop and change quite a bit by the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Crybaby ends up liking Allison after they meet. It's very sweet. And he gets kind of mocked by all the other drapes because of
Except for his sister.
Except for his sister, who, again, she thinks that Allison is a scrape.
Yeah, part square, part drape.
Beautiful. It's very adorable. And I think, of course, that Crybaby probably is a little bit, too.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see this driving scene that you alluded to a little bit ago. So this driving scene is going to be where we have Allison, Mrs. Verner Williams, and Baldwin are all going to be in the car.
Baldwin.
Oh, yes. How did we forget Baldwin?
It's those jukebox records she listens to.
Well, each side, the drapes and the squares, and we'll get into the other one, they all have one person who's just like the epitome of not good people.
Yeah.
In this case, it's Baldwin. He thinks that Allison's his girlfriend, in a way.
How can I think when you're always touching me?
He puts his arm around her, he's putting his hands on her, and...
I think she thinks that he's her boyfriend also.
Okay, yeah.
I think they're together.
Okay. Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
It's tough to say.
It is tough to say. I didn't think about it that way.
But it's just real. It's just the one. But you get it, and he's like, "My way, the highway." It's real. Yeah. What's the word? It's sanitized.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no actual like juice to it.
I would definitely agree with that. The three of them, they are driving, and they get attacked I would say.
Attacked by juvenile delinquents.
Yes. That results in a game of chicken where Crybaby is driving and ends up winning the game of chicken, I guess you could say.
While they're singing G by the Crows, like I said before.
Just repeat all the things. This leads them to the annual RSVP talent show, which is obviously for squares.
At the Charm School.
At the Charm School. And Mrs. Verner Williams describes how the juvenile delinquents are terrifying and they are everywhere. I like her. She says, like, they have tattoos and long hair.
Yeah,
and
their hair's
spit
like
on the sidewalk.
this long, maybe.
Yeah.
Spit on the sidewalk.
Oh, and she also says the girls wear the hysterectomy pants.
Yeah.
As I call them.
They're so tight.
They're so tight.
That's like all my friends right there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like...
Yeah, literally, I have never met anybody who doesn't fit into one of those two descriptions.
Yeah, right.
This also is where we get to see the squares all singing Life Could Be a Dream.
Shaboom.
Hello, hello again. Shaboom, and hoping we'll meet again.
Shaboom. Man, I just love that part because, like, first thing, my sister, I haven't gotten her to watch this movie yet.
Yeah.
But every time I imagine that, I'm like, she will get a kick out of that because the exaggerated moves of the Drape gang, Baldwin and his three singers were like, just like a lot of exaggeration. I'm like,
and
so goofy.
The girls are melting as the squares are singing these songs. Like, they are literally like, oh my god, it's so wonderful. I love it. Allison also, during the talent show scenes, she also sings Teenage Prayer, and she starts to envision all of the squares with Crybaby's face.
His kiss could send me to heaven.
So we can tell that she has a little bit of a crush.
Right. Meanwhile, when she's singing, Baldwin imagines her, and he imagines her appearing in this very tacky wedding dress. I'm sure someone's gotten married in that before, but I feel sorry if they did.
The 1950s, the style icons back then. In contrast, we get introduced to Turkey Point and the swim club.
Amazing.
Yes, this seems like the coolest hangout of all time.
We need something
Yeah,
like that.
I would really like to have that as my hangout.
I mean, it's in fresh air, you know, it's like basically the center of it's a pavilion, but one of the first things you see is some guy just swing out into a rope and splash into the water. And one of my favorite images from this movie, which kind of sums up what the drapes are, is this woman, she's swimming and she's got like the, you know, cap over her hair, but she's smoking a cigarette at the same time.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, this is...
Yep.
Yeah.
She's having a great time.
Drapesville.
She's having a wonderful time.
Yeah.
She's really enjoying it.
Have you done that before?
Swam and
or
smoked
considered
a cigarette. Not in a swim cap.
It seems kind of counterproductive.
It does.
Okay, but yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Photo op.
Yes. We also get to meet Lenora during the scene, who's played by Kim Webb.
She is the Drapes' Baldwin in a way.
Hussy. She's a hussy.
Yeah.
A huge hussy.
Well, she's big into wanting Crybaby to be her guy.
Oh yeah, she does the little, she puts tape on her leg so that she can get
so she
the suntan.
But the tape is covering up the letter CB
so cute.
shape,
Yeah.
so like a reverse stencil type deal.
Crybaby is not interested in her at all, though. Crybaby doesn't like sluts, it turns out.
He likes bad girls, not cheap girls.
Yes. We also get to meet for the first time Pepper and Crybaby's grandma.
Yes.
Of course, Ramona and Belvedere as well. This shows us a gigantic contrast because we're kind of flipping in between the talent show and Turkey Point.
Right.
And we get to see the Drapes being super low class and the Squares being prim and proper.
Right. And then you also get to see the choreography for the first time.
Yeah.
Like the real choreography of the film at Turkey Point.
That's true.
Like the cool dancing.
The better dancing.
Yeah.
As I would call it. I do have a question about Turkey Point, though. Mm-hmm. There are a couple of times in Turkey Point where there is a Confederate flag.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too.
It's in the background at the bar in Turkey Point, and it is on the little baby chair that Ramona and Belvedere give to Pepper.
Yeah, they make her a rocker.
So I thought that was, I mean, I know that there must be social commentary in there, but I couldn't really place what it was.
And it's on the back of the stage too.
Yeah.
I was trying to look it up because, you know, I'm just like, it's a mixed race area with the Drapes, you know?
Yeah.
It's like there's none of that, what you'd usually associate the Confederate flag with.
Yeah.
So I think it maybe is just like shorthand for rebellion from maybe older movies or something. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
It's very confusing. Let's have one tier each. Ramona and Belvedere also give Crybaby a motorcycle at this point. And that motorcycle becomes quite the important piece of the puzzle for him because it is his transportation throughout the rest of the film.
We should talk about Ramona's place. It's like a rockabilly Pee-wee's Playhouse.
It's amazing.
It's just like there's rockabilly iconography all over the place, you know, like the strutting women and skulls and things like that.
It looks so cool in
Yeah.
there. It looks so amazingly cool in there. Again, that's where I want to hang out. I want to live in Turkey Point.
Yes. The real Turkey Point, though. The real Turkey Point now, they have a swim club. I looked it up.
Is there a real Where is it?
It's in Baltimore.
That makes a lot of sense.
I think Essex, Baltimore.
That makes so much sense. You know, it's funny because I was like, you know, for a John Waters film, this is not very Baltimore focused, but it turns out it is entirely Baltimore focused.
Yeah, the funny thing about it,
stupid.
though. No. You're just uneducated.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a stupid moron with an ugly face and a big butt, and my butt smells, and I like to kiss my own butt.
But the funny thing about it is it's almost like, nowadays, it looks, from the pictures I saw, it looks like a square hangout. Like, it's like a club. You gotta be, like, part of it.
You gotta wear one of the sweaters tied around your neck to get in there?
Yeah. And, you know, you have a bunch of the 35-year-old men drinking Smirnoff, wearing flip-flops and khaki shorts. You know, that type of thing. Cool. The one now?
No.
Oh, the old one, yeah. I would love to go to the fake turkey.
Yeah. We should build that.
If you could just take a little portion of Seabreeze or something like that, local theme park, for those who don't know, and turn that into Turkey Point.
I would hang out there every day. Crybaby shows up at the Squares talent show on his motorcycle.
On his brand new motorcycle.
Yeah, he looks super cool. Allison's boyfriend, I guess, Baldwin, immediately punches him in the gut.
Right after he's apologized for playing chicken with Mrs. Vernon Williams.
Yep. He is a dick. The Squares are the instigators.
Yeah.
That is the moral of the story. And ultimately, Allison ends up leaving with Crybaby.
He's so nice, though. Like, he's like, I don't want to get axle grease on your dress.
Yeah. Back at Turkey Point, of course, the Drapes are at that bar, Ramona's bar, and there is this erotic dancing sequences. So again, you kind of just hinted at this. But we have, like, the whole idea of, like, them being so much more free, carefree, and literally free. I think Hatchet Face is particularly hysterical during that. We even get to see the little kiddos. We get to see Snare Drum and Susie Q doing a little dance.
There's this couple on stage, this really tall woman and this short guy.
Yeah.
And it's the most amazing choreography in the movie, I think. They're just doing all sorts of throws and catches and jumps. It's like the reverse gender role in a way.
Oh, I love that.
It's great. Later you see them slow dancing and the large woman's holding the tiny guy.
That's right. Now Allison, the Square, is hanging out in Turkey Point. The Squares don't go to Turkey Point, so she has to get a bad girl makeover. And she does.
Which you were talking about them kind of making fun of Crybaby.
Yeah.
But like when, let's see, it's Hatchet, Wanda, and Pepper come out from the pavilion and they see Allison there, they're actually really supportive, like right off the bat.
Hey, fine, Mama. Welcome to the Jukebox Jamboree.
They really are. I think that they understand when somebody wants to be like them and just hasn't been able to be because of what their family circumstances are.
So
Turkey Point is an accepting place.
One of my favorite things that I didn't realize, the first 10 times seeing this movie was at one point, and this will come back in a bit, Pepper is talking to Allison and she goes, "Drape girls, our bazooms are our secret weapons." Which, is funny.
I was like, yes, it's true. I did really like that.
I might agree with that.
Yeah. We get to see for the first time Crybaby doing a little rockabilly song.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty good.
King Crybaby.
That's probably my favorite of the original songs.
Same.
I would say.
Gets caught in my head.
It does get caught in my head. It very much gets caught in my head. That is probably the one of the original songs that I think sticks with me by far the most. We also get, as in the band, Wanda is playing the triangle. Hatchet Face is on sax. It's the best sax solo besides Sexy Sax Man that I've seen in a very long time. Milton is on the upright bass, and then we have Pepper on the drums.
Right.
Yeah.
And dude, I wish I'd known at some point Milton, he turns the bass on its side and like steps on it and plays from above. Yeah. And I wish when I was playing in high school, I had just known that was the thing you could do.
That was an option.
I would have gotten yelled at, but fuck it.
It would have been worth it.
It would have been great.
It would have been worth it.
I did do the spin a lot, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
You hep cat, you.
Where'd you learn that vulgar jazz word?
Oh, no. So Lenora, at this point, also being the hussy that she is, she takes her panties off for Crybaby. And this is the first tinge of jealousy that we start to see.
Yeah, because she sees Allison come out in her awesome drape girl makeover.
Yeah. And she's the queen.
She's the queen.
And she gets to sing.
In Crybaby's world.
And it's very, very cute. This scene works really well for me. Again, I kind of teased the fact that I think that not all the original songs are great, and I think that not all the dance numbers are great, but this one really, really draws me in, and I get excited about it.
Yeah. Also, Lenore's panties are like...
Yeah.
We're big pant people!
Which is hilarious.
Yeah. She was actually in Hairspray.
Yeah.
Like a split second. Yeah. And it was hilarious. She's the one you see her dancing on the dance show, and they won't allow falsies.
Yeah.
So there's a producer on the side who points to her, and he goes and she goes, and he's pointing, and she's like...
Yeah.
And, you know, just that moment alone, like, was hilarious, and then she becomes... like a bigger part in the John Waters ensemble in this movie.
Yeah.
She's great.
I like seeing her. I don't think that he continued using her much after this. You know, I just watched and reviewed Serial Mom. I don't think that she's in Serial Mom. I don't think that she is in A Dirty Shame. I don't think she's in Pecker.
I don't think she's in anything since then. But she's great.
This might have been her last movie.
Yeah, a lot of plastic surgery since then, too.
Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta do something.
You gotta do something.
Yeah.
Even Johnny's had a plastic surgery, so...
Probably more than one, if I had to guess.
The nose is slim. The canthus is a little bit, too tight right there.
Yeah.
I think they have.
Lies. It's all lies in this vicinity. The next scene that we get to see is Allison going with Crybaby to a make-out point style place, which is, they're on picnic blankets. They're not in cars like you traditionally would be for a make-out point. I was like, I've never seen a make-out point like this.
That actually, coming from the town I come from, that's a little more in line with the reality.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. It seems more comfortable than being in a car.
Oh, yeah.
I just never would have thought about that.
It seems like a nice summer night.
Yeah.
You know? Well, one thing that's really cool about this movie, too, is that there's artificial sets, but they do use a lot of location shoots. Yeah. And this was definitely one.
Oh, absolutely. So this is Allison's first French kiss.
Yeah, and apparently in real life, too.
She said that Johnny Depp taught her how to kiss. Very cute.
I think that it's great. Talking about Crybaby being sweet, he's like, we'll try French kissing. You put your tongues together, it feels real sexy now. And
then you get the cut to everybody in the drape bar, and they're all making it. You get a super cut of everybody being like, I'll get you, someday. You'll be my pet. Right now.
I'm gonna come.
So good.
And even the kids are like, ew, but then they're just sucking on lollipops and they switch lollipops. But one thing he does say, he's like, we'll try it. If you don't like it, I'll stop right away, I promise. Yeah. Again, him being a real mensch, let's say.
Yeah, he's lovely.
So.
And the reason that she never French kissed was actually because she wanted to respect her dead parents.
She's an orphan. I'm an orphan, Crybaby. My parents are dead.
I think, again, this is kind of Waters' commentary on you're not really living a life. If you're living a really boring life. It's kind of like, do you know the line? It's in both Stand By Me and in Full Metal Jacket. It's, did your mother ever have any kids that lived?
Yes.
That's kind of what I feel like is going on with Allison. She's been a square for hours. She's never kissed anybody because she's trying to be respectful of her parents. And she's bored of that. She hates it.
In a way, it's like being respectful of something that's already dead makes you dead, too.
Yes. Yeah, that's...
Just thought that.
Whoa. Yeah. That's some crazy shit right there. I'm going to be awake all night thinking about that.
Right.
Fuck. Crybaby also reveals that his parents are dead. He's also an orphan.
Yeah, that's why we're meant to be together.
Yeah, very cute. And he also describes that he has to do something rotten every day, and that explains his one single tear.
Because that's his way of honoring his dead parents. But he'll only give it a single tear.
A single tear.
Yeah. A lightning bolt hits the tree behind him.
Damn light!
And he's like, I hate electricity, it makes me insane. Because his parents were killed by the electric chair.
He rips his shirt off and he has the electric chair tattooed on his chest.
Maybe that's a tattoo I'll get.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's what I'll do.
It's actually a pretty cool tattoo idea.
Yeah. But it's funny because I was watching this and I was like, well, he has a motorcycle and a car, an electric guitar, and then the drunk aunt in my subconscious is like, shh.
It's fine.
Enjoy the movie, honey. It's fine. Just enjoy the movie. But I like that the kitschiness of it. It's just like, there's some things that don't need to be logically explained. Love that.
Speaking of his motorcycle, though, while they're making out, his motorcycle gets destroyed by the squares who come to attack.
Yeah, they're like graffitiing up the drape vehicles and whatnot.
They're dickbags. I do like them storming down the hill.
Yeah. Like it's a battle. His car, though, it's like it's a Ford something. And his car is pretty badass, too.
The Flames?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that car.
Yeah.
That's a super cool car.
So we need to start Turkey Point and get one of those cars and get the tattoo.
Yeah.
Basically turn life into the movie.
Maybe less Confederate flags.
Yeah, a little less.
I would
maybe
also...
like 0.
Yeah, maybe less dancing.
Okay.
We'll get into the dancing soon. We'll get into the dancing soon. Yeah, it's nonsensical, I know. I'm about to criticize something that I do. It's very dangerous. This fight in between the squares and the drapes, this big, huge brawl, it results in all of the drapes getting arrested.
Which they didn't even start it.
They did not even start it.
Started it.
Also, did you notice at one point that there was a paddy wagon like full of people who were only black, right? That is a huge piece of social commentary.
That's a light touch of social commentary.
Yeah. Sure. And John Waters really likes to talk about racism and classism a lot in his films. That was really the first time that hit me over the head in this particular movie.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, Baltimore itself is so integrated.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, we got to put a little bit of accuracy into that part because people will probably question it while watching it.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah.
Also, during the Rumble, other people get in fights. You got the police and the drapes and the squares all together. But then, my favorite callback, which in a lesser movie, it would get illuminated as a callback. But Wanda, she's ready to fight. She charges up her bazooms and she knocks the guy over.
It's so good.
Our bazooms are our secret weapons.
Yes. I mean, it was foreshadowing.
Yeah.
We couldn't not use our boobs as a literal weapon.
I don't know if you have... I looked down for a second. I don't know. Have you? Has it come in handy for
Yes, I constantly am taking people out with them.
Yeah.
This feels very, is that also the gag in Austin Powers, I'm just realizing? Was it 2 when they have the...
Yeah, the guns.
Yeah.
Is it cold in here?
Secret weapon.
Also a secret weapon.
As soon as both Hatchet and Wanda knock somebody over, they pull out their compacts. And
A lot of vanity.
Yeah, I mean, they're very, in that case, you have the masculine and the feminine.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
So as a consequence, because they all get arrested, Pepper's kids are taken to an orphanage, which is very sad because, again, we're talking so much about orphanages. And
I am going to have your 2 children put in the custody of the Chatterbox Orphanage until they are adopted by God-fearing parents who at least will give them Christian names.
Or rather, we're talking about orphans, we're talking about kids, we're talking about the relationships with their parents.
Right.
Crybaby is sentenced to jail until he's 21 years old.
Boys' school.
Boys'
Juvenile
school.
Detention center.
Yes.
It's jail. It's jail.
It's jail.
It's jail.
It's jail. And Allison gets off because she's pretty.
Yeah, and she's
She's a square.
Yeah.
Because you are a fine and beautiful woman, Mrs. Vernon Williams.
With Crybaby arrested, Lenora takes this opportunity to tell everybody that she's pregnant with his baby.
Boy, do I have a story for you.
And they, you have the radio crew there, or camera crew, who's recording her saying that, and they say to Crybaby, like, how do you feel about it? He's like, oh, I'm so happy. It's the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Yeah. Whoops. Misquoted. The nuance was not conveyed, I guess.
No.
In jail, this is where we get this lovely Willem Dafoe cameo. I mean, he plays a guard. He gets to smack Crybaby's ass.
Yeah.
Strip down, asshole. It's very bad time.
Apparently that was
improvised.
Improvised, yes.
And it's one take, so everybody just went with it.
Yep. I also really like his, God bless Dwight Eisenhower. God bless Dwight Eisenhower.
God bless Roy Cohn.
God bless Roy Cohn. It's so fucking good.
God bless the juvenile authorities.
And the other juvies have to repeat after him.
God bless the juvenile authorities.
It's really, really fun.
The 25-year-old juvie.
Yeah. Yeah. Crybaby also sings a song. This is the first song that we get in jail, which is all about teardrops.
Yeah. Teardrops are falling.
That song, it does nothing for me.
I love it because it's just a kickback to those, falsetto, and then in the it's singing about Allison, he's got a little cigar box guitar, and there's a middle part of the bridge where Dupree is also made it, and he's one of the black characters in the film, one of the black drapes. He does the little baby, blah, blah, blah.
When you went away, you stayed away so long.
Can we talk about Dupree's hair for a second?
Oh.
I love Dupree's hair.
Yo, ladies on the radio, there's trouble, crybaby, big trouble.
Pompadour.
Yes, yeah, that you're right. I knew that for sure. It reminds me of, do you know Sleazy P. Martini from GWAR?
Sleazy, how do you hide money from a hippie?
Put it under the soap.
He has the same exact fucking hair. But his, I'm pretty sure, is not a wig. But I love that hairstyle.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's got that, like, whoosh.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite things is Allison is very upset. She's saving her tears in a little jar. And this is the thing that makes this movie one of my favorites. In every good movie, there's a moment where something transcends the genre and becomes art. In this case...
of tears?
It is the fact that not only does she have the jar of tears, but at the end of the song, she's drinking them. And, you know, part of me thinks, is Amy Locane in on the joke sometimes during the movie? And it's like, whether or not she is, she was made to be in on the joke.
Well, she was dehydrated from all the crying.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
It's very logical.
So
I like that it's labeled jar of tears. Yeah, like, okay, she had to go label it and then cry into it and then drink it finally. Yeah. Crybaby also has another single teardrop at this point, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the song. And he licks that. It's the only time that he's like, no, this is not for anybody. It's for me.
I'm keeping this one.
Yeah. It goes back inside me. Yeah, the song and dance numbers in the jail.
Yeah. You don't like them.
Okay. You tell me why you do.
It's just so kinetic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have all these like professional dancers, and it just seems like it's the most, almost like one of the most 50s things, obviously referencing Jailhouse Rock.
Yes. And that I like. What I don't like is Johnny Depp.
Uh-huh.
He sucks at dancing. He apparently did not want to dance, and John Waters convinced him to. And I think that that was the wrong move. But in addition to that, he looks so small and soft. And he's supposed to be singing, like, not during the Teardrop song, but during the second Jailhouse song. I can't remember what it is. He's supposed to be hard. He's supposed to be very drape-like. And he's just kind of, like, little flowery. Mm-hmm. And it does not work for me at all as his character. I would like his stature to look bigger. And not that he can change his stature, but, like, I would like him to take up more space.
Next time John Waters goes on tour.
Yeah.
Q&A session. Be like, this is not a Q. This is just an A from me to you, John. Go back and re-edit that.
Yeah.
Pull a George Lucas CG out of there.
Yeah.
I need
Johnny Depp to be
for
bigger.
Young scene. Yeah.
No, I don't need that.
I don't know what to do. I'm confused.
I don't know. Maybe I do.
I think it's ironic that like a lot of gentlemen dancers, at least I hate to say it, but the stereotype is weak in a way. You know what I mean? Which is obviously wrong. We all know that. But for you to say that there's these big hulking guys next to a tiny little Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And most of them are definitely not weak.
I don't think he's a small dude. I don't think he's a small dude. He just looks so, like, I feel like he's not trying.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like he's not trying.
Because he can't.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to. But if you're going to cast somebody in a role where they are going to be dancing, get somebody who's fucking into it.
Do you like his growls?
I do.
The reason this number comes into play is because Allison hears the thing with Lenore from the radio and saying she's going to have his baby, and Crybaby saying, I've never been happier in my life, edited next to one another. So she assumes that Crybaby suddenly was like, he had another girl the whole time.
Yep.
I hope you're happy with Lenora.
So the jailhouse scene is instigated by, they interview Allison, and she's like, Crybaby, you're a cheat and a liar. And so that causes him to get angry and be upset for the fact that he's in jail.
Yeah.
And it's the,
I can feel him doing that, though. Like, that felt sincere. I mean, it's goofy, sincere, but it still felt sincere.
Yeah.
Whereas the dancing, I'm like, just don't let him dance. Like, have him stand with a microphone. Like, drop a microphone down from the jail ceiling. That would be, like, have him stand in place. Have him do a little bit of, he did, like, a good Elvis in the beginning on the King song. Don't make him go dance with all these other people who can actually dance.
Right. Well, he's been in a musical since, but I don't think he did much dancing in the
Sweeney
Todd.
Yeah. What else? That's the only one.
That's the only one I got.
Okay, yeah. The Angela Lansbury version is much better.
Customer! What you rush, what you hurry? You gave me such a fright. I thought you was a ghost half a minute. Can't you sit you down?
We're getting a cinema snobby here?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
That's not even a movie. That's just a filming of a play.
Oh, okay. But it's Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, I know. She's amazing.
Rest in peace.
Anyways, I like Sweeney Todd. It's sitting over there. Actually, that's the 1934 version that's sitting over there. Everybody hates me now.
Gee, I think you like movies.
I like Sweeney Todd a lot. So Allison is now sad because she thinks that Crybaby lied to her. Mm-hmm. And in order to woo her back, Baldwin is like, well, let me just do the most goddamn square thing in the world and bunny hop my way into her heart.
Literally, bunny hop. He gets a whole parade of his square cronies to parade down the street to the slowest parade, all marching to RSVP Charm School, Allison's home.
It was absurd, but it was kind of great, especially because it's getting cut in between those jail scenes. So like, it's really fucking stupid. It's really fucking stupid, but I like it. The part that I don't like about this scene is Mrs. Verner Williams' advice. Or no, actually, I like her advice in this scene. I don't like her advice later. In this scene, her advice to Allison is, don't decide today. Let your heart think. And of course, Allison is an idiot, and she decides right now that she wants to be with Baldwin. Like a fucking idiot. Mm-hmm. Stupid.
And this is right after they sing a song, The Naughty Lady of Shady Lane.
Yeah.
They sing it to her, him and his cronies. And it's like one of the most insulting songs about a woman who's a harlot. Yeah. They go to her house. How would you like that someone just came to your house and with a huge group of people and insulted you?
I would pick that guy for sure.
Oh, yeah. He's the real bad boy.
Yeah.
I had an ex of mine. I broke up with her. And about a week later, before people even knew we broke up, I wrote a song. And I made a little video for her. Mm-hmm. Okay, this was like 2007. And she retaliated in full. You know, mine was kind of a solo thing.
Yeah.
And she got a bunch of people in her dorm to stand behind a curtain while she sang a song where the main chorus was, when I'm over you, things will be great. And then during the last chorus, the curtain falls and there's all these friends singing, when I am over you, things will... I'm like, I didn't even do anything to her. I just broke up with her.
So you're trying to tell me that you used to date Taylor Swift?
Close enough.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll tell you off camera who it was. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but yeah.
I had a bunch of guys. I dated a bunch of guys separately at different times in my life. But I had broken up with all of them, or they had broken up with me, like we'd broken up. And then after I broke up with the last one, he went to the other guys and he was like, you want to make a band with me about how much Kaylee sucks? And then they made a band about how much I sucked. It was actually a pretty good band. That was the worst part. It was a pretty fucking good band. They were all really talented.
Can't fault you for that one, guys.
I kind of respected it.
Yeah. I mean, she's talented too. But at the same time, he was like, wow, this hurts.
Yeah, I didn't really like going to see them perform. That wasn't my favorite thing to do.
Okay.
No, for some reason.
No bumper stickers? No merch?
No, they were pretty good.
So we kind of understand what Baldwin did to Allison to an extent.
Not the best way to handle things.
At the end of the bunny hop, I should say there's one moment that very much says what the squares are. And that's where... You know, they're doing the da-na-na-na-na-na-da-da. This is what happens with Baldwin's voice. Da-na-na-da-da-da. Like, he shows his true colors in that moment.
Yeah, that's
so it's almost like a biting kind of thing he's doing. But
it's very performative.
Yeah.
It's literally performative, whereas Crybaby, when he is not performing, he is still being his authentic self.
Right.
Crybaby, at this point, gets a teardrop tattoo from Dupree.
I can do this, I promise. See, I was in the city a little bit ago. This is not too bad, actually.
That's very low.
Wow. Yeah, okay, fine.
That's where your teardrop?
Yeah, just, I have some, okay, this will be much easier. Okay, we'll get real close. Is it too low? It looks like a potato chip.
Oh, it does look like a potato chip. I feel so sad.
Do you cry potato chips?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Too much starch.
If I was crying potato chips, I would also drink a jar of those tears. Yeah. Are you out of your mind?
Get some salt with that,
that sounds great. I love that idea.
Yeah, it is so low.
It looks so pretty. I like it. Yeah.
Do you want to try it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Not bad.
All right. We got our potato chip teardrops. They're beautiful.
Dupree's giving him the teardrop tattoo, which is confusing to me because it's like, is this solitary? then how come Dupree got in there? Whatever. Doesn't matter. Shh, honey. Don't worry about it.
Also, a big question about that scene is that Dupree, after giving him the teardrop tattoo, realizes that there's a grate in the ground which Crybaby can potentially use to escape. One, why did nobody ever notice this grate ever before?
Shh. Enjoy the movie.
Two,
Don't worry about it, honey.
But two, why doesn't Dupree go also?
Shh. Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
That's a good question.
Dupree was happy in jail. Why does he not go? While Crybaby is trying to jailbreak, we also get Hatchet Face and Milton going to try to rescue him.
Stealing a helicopter.
Because why not? Probably the biggest part of the budget for this movie. That or Johnny Depp. When Crybaby is trying to escape, he's following the rats.
Yeah, the rats they're
guiding him.
There's a way to go. There's one friendly rat.
Yeah.
And by the way, he also sees that Milton and Hatched are out there, but
he can't get to them.
He can't get to them.
So he starts going and he gets through the tunnels and he finally is able to get up to a place where there's a grate and he's all excited and he's going to get out.
He finds out.
He's in the barber shop.
Yep.
With Sweeney Todd also, possibly.
The guards all start laughing, and the little rat that led him here
also starts laughing. He's so cute.
I just imagine how much fun it could be. Like, I was the rat wrangler for that.
Yeah.
You just took the rat and went like this with it under some shaving chips.
Rat puppeteer, his credit. So, I another part of this whole jailbreak sequence that I really enjoy is, of course, when Hatchet Face and Milton break into the jail and they go into the movie theater of the jail.
Oh, what makes you like that scene?
And I don't. What could possibly make me like that scene?
I don't
know. And they see all the prisoners wearing the 3D glasses, and they're watching Creature from the Black Lagoon, which came out the year that this movie is set in. Creature from the Black Lagoon came out in '54, and then this movie was set in '54. That movie was just the normal black and white version, not the 3D version. So why they're wearing 3D glasses? And I like that scene. It's funny. They bust through the screen.
Yeah. And they're like, ah! They're falling off their chairs and whatnot.
Because it's in 3D.
Yeah.
They're wearing the 3D glasses.
But we should mention, too, that, like, Kim McQuire, like, there was nothing ugly about her. It was all makeup.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And she has these amazing blue eyes.
And
like, super bright.
There are several times throughout the movie where a character will make a comment about her appearance, and somebody else or she will say, no, I'm beautiful. What are you talking about?
Yeah. By the way, that's a shame about your face.
There's nothing the matter with my face. I got character.
Yeah,
and
it's great.
And again, I love that sort of little thing that John Waters does, where it's like, you just don't understand her type of beauty. That's so valuable, and I think she is beautiful.
Yeah.
I decided against it. I have standards. She's got a pretty banging body too. When she gets in that helicopter and she's wearing the super tight belt.
Hysterectomy pants?
Oh yeah, she is.
Yeah. You can see it's like
I could see her hysterectomy.
This is where Milton's. This is where Milton's coming from. His point of view.
Just coming that you could have ended the sentence.
I don't get it. All right. We should mention that both escape attempts are failed.
Yes.
Which is funny because I think in other movies you might be like, what was the point of that scene? I mean, it was hilarious. Just goofy.
Yes.
It was just fun.
It's just a goofy chase scene.
And you got to see Johnny Depp in his underwear, which I'm sure some people enjoyed.
I would like to point out that as he is trying to escape, when his pants oopsies get pulled off, I was like, oh, that's a penis.
Outrageous. Are you expecting anything less?
I was watching this at my day job, and somebody came up to me with a major problem, and I paused the movie right on. Yeah, and I was like, I promise that I'm not clocked in right now.
This is research.
I'm not getting paid. Also, that's Johnny Depp. And then because I was wearing headphones, I was like, that's Johnny Depp. And it was kind of a friend. So I was like, penis. And then I was like, did I just say that really loud because I had the headphones on? Oopsies. And then I did not get fired. So that's wonderful news.
All right.
Now I've just told the story to everybody. So hello, bosses.
And they love watching
when you watch this, please don't fire me. I said it really loud.
You said it really loud just now. Johnny Depp's penis.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's great.
Did you feel a little more even now? Okay.
This is equally as professional as I am there, so yes. We also have a simultaneous jailbreak going on during this time because we also get to see Pepper, Ramona, and Belvedere all trying to rescue Pepper's kids.
Yeah,
from the
incognito.
orphanage. Yeah.
Even though they basically look the same, but with square clothes on.
Yeah.
We get a moment of Ramona Ricketts speaking in a British accent.
Yes.
We were thinking of 2 children, actually.
Susan Tyrrell's British. I wish there was a little more of that. Because I was like, oh, that was kind of convincing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the setup of the Chatterbox Orphanage.
It's a zoo. It's a reptile enclosure.
Right. You got panes of glass, and behind each of it is like a diorama type scene, but featuring the different orphans that you can adopt. They're holding signs on them. One says, "I'm cute." One's vacuuming just to show you his utility.
It's useful, yeah.
The sad part is it's actually how they used to have orphanages.
Yeah, I know. Probably in the 50s also.
They see
Snaring and
Snaring
Susie
Jones.
Q.
Yeah.
They are Siamese twins.
A double header.
Yeah, they're wearing one big tunic.
Very cute.
Oh, you don't want to adopt them.
Yeah. That is a successful jailbreak, though.
Yes. They pull off their drape clothes and they're wearing their square clothes underneath and they have a gun. They tie up the lady who runs the orphanage, and not only do they take Snare Drum and Susie Q, but all the kids are released from the...
It's so cute.
orphanage.
Yay! It's so happy.
And who's driving the getaway vehicle? Snare Drum, the little boy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Turn left! Turn right, hell.
Oh my god.
And the look on that kid's face.
He's having so much fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Pepper, Belvedere, and Ramona are all in the back seat, and the kiddos are in the front seat.
It's speeding and take a left here.
Yeah, take a left here, and then he swerves all over the road. So
that's how I drive.
Yeah. Simultaneously, we also have, as the climax of the movie, actually, as we reach that point, we get to go to the Enchanted Forest amusement park. They mention it several times, actually. And we get to see the squares all singing Mr. Sandman. Which...
Mr. Sandman.
Yes?
Bring me a dream.
Meh.
I mean, it's one of those cover ones. It's supposed to be a little bit lame.
Yeah, it's supposed to be lame.
And they're performing with Allison.
They are.
And it's funny because there's this weird kind of one-upsmanship between the two cultures of who can sing better. Yeah, so these guys, they keep on stepping over what Allison's doing during their performance.
Because they want to be the best.
Turn on your magic beam.
Mr. Sandman.
They don't even care about the overall performance. They just care about themselves.
Yeah.
But we get to have another bunny moment because Belvedere flies in a bunny suit. So yet again, Allison is interrupted by a bunny hop, and then...
I never put that together.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's in a big butt.
Yeah, all the drapes are dressed in disguise and like... So the Enchanted Forest is basically like a fairy tale park. Real thing in Baltimore. It's gone to crap now, from what I've understood. It's one of those abandoned places. They talk about bringing it back, but it's so like, listen, I'm okay with things for kids and parks and all that, but it's so tacky. It's almost creepy.
Yeah.
So all the drapes are dressed in
Castles,
like animal costumes, including Uncle Belvedere in the bunny costume.
In the bunny costume.
Yeah. Oh, and this is also where Ramona goes to Miss Vernon Williams, and she brings her a brooch. And the brooch is a skull and cross with a little ruby.
Yes, and again,
she's accepting of it.
So, like, Mrs. Verner Williams at this point has already transformed so much. I think that her biggest transformation is happening in the jail scene, actually, which we didn't even really talk very much about. And I do have something that I want to ask you about. When the kids are all getting their sentences, that really is when Mrs. Verner Williams seems to be changing the most as a character, because that is the first time that I feel like she's realizing, well, Allison didn't really do anything different than what everybody else did, and Allison is not being penalized, whereas the drapes are.
Right.
I think that's where we start to see the shift in her character, and where she starts to become, the scrape.
Yeah, she starts to understand the lack of real division.
I do want to hop back to that scene for a minute, though, because we did entirely forget to talk about Patty Hearst in that scene.
When Wanda comes in the courtroom, all the parents are pissed off, but her parents, you see them do a little wave.
Okay, so Wanda is talking about things, and she's saying, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But she's getting bleeped.
Would you just get me the out of here?
What's mean, Hector?
And that's in every version, right?
No, the one I have None of them are bleeped.
Oh, really?
All three that are said.
Okay, so I know John Waters does a thing, and most famously he did it with A Dirty Shame, where he makes a neuter version and a non-neuter version. So the version that I watched of this movie, every time that Wanda said fuck, it was bleeped.
Yeah.
But then when Patty Hearst said fuck to repeat her,
Your Honor, could we take Wanda the fuck home?
it was not bleeped. And I was like, that's actually even better somehow.
Having one. I mean, you're allowed one at PG-13, right? You're allowed one fuck.
Oh, maybe
in a
that
PG-13
is.
movie.
I don't know.
Rhonda goes, get the fuck out of here. And her mom turns to the dad and goes like, honey, what does fuck mean? He's like,
oh, Meg, it's just a teen nonsense word Wanda uses to make herself feel all grown up.
She goes, Judge, can we get Wanda the fuck out of here?
Yeah. It's so good.
It's so good. It's one of those things where you have to watch in Patty Hearst's performance.
Yes. Well, another thing that is also important about the end of the movie is that Lenora is now a square with a fake baby.
Yeah.
I'm a square now. Wave to Allison.
I found my baby. It's a classic.
She's still a hussy, even though she's a square.
Yeah.
Which I like. Mm-hmm. I like that she has not changed, even though she has changed. Like, her as a person has not changed, even though she has gone from being a drape to being a square.
Her status, whatever you want to call it.
So Allison now sings a rockabilly song all about Mr. Jailer.
Hey, Mr. Jailer.
Please, Mr. Jailer.
Tell me about how you feel about it.
I like that.
Won't you let my man go free?
Yeah.
I think that that's well done, and I think it's well placed, and I think she does an incredible job performing
That's true.
She does the sexy dance in front of the glass.
Yeah, they all do. They all do.
Oh, yeah, everybody picks a guy.
Yeah.
It's very inclusive.
Including Mrs. Vernon Williams.
Yeah, it's very, again, she's so supportive.
Everybody's being so sexy, and
She's
she's trying. She's
taking one for the
jaunty.
team pretty soon, too, because she's going to go butter up that judge, let me tell you.
I don't think he has a problem with that
No,
either.
I think that they're very happy about it. I really, really like that song and dance number. And again, I think the reason that I like it is because it relies more heavily on Allison than it does on Crybaby.
Just the bigger focus.
Crybaby ends up breaking the glass with a phone. He smashes the glass so that he can get to Allison and they kiss.
And yet somehow all the pains are... Oh, yeah. They finally get to kiss again.
It's
They're
so
united.
cute. This is also when Mrs. Vernon Williams seduces the judge, who releases Crybaby.
Yeah.
And says, oh, you're all rehabilitated now.
Yeah.
Which
They're all
again,
good.
here is the social commentary from John Waters being like, yeah, that's not really how that works, but sure. Yeah, it's fine. Baldwin also at this point reveals that his grandfather is the person who electrocuted Crybaby's parents.
He was the judge or whatever who sent them to the chair.
Dick.
And every Christmas since, my whole family gathers together and he retells the story of the day he electrocuted your daddy. And we just laugh.
He's very proud of it. He's very, very proud of it.
And one thing is, as long as we're talking about people's reputations outside of the movies, it does seem like a lot of times that some of the nicest people are the ones who play the villains.
Yeah.
And everything I hear about Baldwin, the guy who played Baldwin, I'm like, he's actually a pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
But that's made him such a good dick.
Yeah, well, and he's like he's a subtle dick.
Subtle dick.
Yeah.
I've been called that.
He's a very subtle dick.
Yes.
I like it. I like his character a lot. I mean, I don't like his character, but I like it's successful. This leads us to the final game of chicken.
Let me punch his ugly face.
Crybaby challenges Baldwin to a game of chicken.
At Turkey Point.
At Turkey Point, but they will not be the drivers of the cars.
No.
They will be on the tops of the cars.
You gotta up the stakes somehow.
That doesn't really make any sense to me because
No.
now it's totally unrelying on them.
Well, in a way though, because like I think one of them is yelling to their driver what to do.
Yeah, I also think, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that is going back to the idea of family so much. So the driver of Crybaby's car is Belvedere.
Yep.
In the car is Belvedere, Ramona's in the front, Pepper, who is giving birth, is in the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love being bad because it feels so good.
And maybe that is, again, us talking about the idea of his parents are driving him. You know, his in this case, his grandparents, but, you know, the familial relationship, the relationship that you have, the fact that you have to depend on somebody else to drive you, even when you're fighting your most complicated battles.
You get that?
And meanwhile, in the Squares car,
it's one of the other squares.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The tall, goofy one.
All the squares run into each other for me.
I mean, they don't really have any defined personalities.
No. And I think intentionally. They're all supposed to be so boring.
Yeah. And they wear white
They do.
exclusively.
They do.
And they drag Miss Vernon Williams, they take her captive.
Yes.
Into their vehicle while they're playing chicken.
Yeah.
So you got Baldwin on one, you got Crybaby on the other one. And this brings us to a very special song called
High School Hellcats.
I think it's a little faster than most time. Yeah, High School Hellcats, which is the name of a movie from back in the day, which I have not seen.
I have not seen that one either, actually.
It's another catchy one.
That's a good
again, not the catchiest.
Yeah, I don't actually have a problem with that song either. My biggest problem with the Jailhouse songs.
Yeah.
And I think that's because of the dancing.
Picky.
I know, I hated that.
They actually almost put in another song, and I'm so glad they did. Just because the movie seems like the perfect length.
Yeah.
They almost put in the Square guy singing a song called Chicken. And
that sounds really dumb. I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm so glad. I'm glad they tried it, but it's just at that point you're just okay, let's get to the end.
Yeah. Crybaby wins.
Yeah.
Yay!
Because Baldwin's like, turn! He yells to his driver. Oh, and while they're racing, Pepper gives birth.
Yes.
Meanwhile, her boyfriend, who we forgot to mention, has a poster board that says, will you marry me, Pepper? Mm-hmm. And, going back to the body types, he's very tall, gaunt type, lanky guy, and she's very large. Yeah. But, the love is there. And you see, so she gives birth, the baby just pops out. You see the sign, Pepper, will you marry me? She looks out the back window, and she goes, uh-huh. He could actually in real life see anything from there. And he's like, all right. And then he takes Susie Q and snare drum stands, and he just shakes them I'm your new father.
Yes.
That whole little
love it.
moment is what makes me love this movie also.
Yeah, I think it's just absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Then we get Allison.
Mm-hmm.
Flying through the air.
Yep.
Somersaulting through the air, some might say.
Bree puts her on the back of a motorcycle to drive up to Crybaby.
Yes.
They hit a bump. Allison goes flying through the air.
It's beautiful. It reminds me actually a lot of the car driving up into nothingness in Greece.
Oh, yeah.
It has that same dream kind of feel where you're but why is this happening?
Imaginary physics.
Yeah.
And why is this happening?
But it's beautiful. It's just a stunningly beautiful shot. I really like it. I think it's really effective in a movie that doesn't feel entirely real. Mm-hmm. So it works because it's not entirely real.
And we're about to get to the moment that gives me goosebumps. So as she's flying through the air, we cut to all the different characters throughout the film.
All the ones we like.
All the ones we like, which is more than less.
Yes.
And they all are watching Allison fly through the air, and they all have a single teardrop going through their eyes. And Crybaby catches her. And then we cut to Allison and Crybaby, and what's going on with them?
They have 2 tears now. They're whole. They're whole because they found each other.
I'm just a bad la 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 la.
So cute. I love them.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to the end.
Yeah. I like their relationship. I think that they are the correct way to take this movie. This is a teen comedy romance.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. It is a goofy one, but it is
very seriously, but okay.
It's a teen comedy romance. And so you have to have the good love story. You have to want the 2 characters to be together, and I do want them to be together.
Yeah.
And that is something that makes Crybaby, I think that's one of the reasons that Crybaby has stood the test of time. There are lots of these kind of goofy rom-coms in the teenage area of movies. A lot of them get forgotten, but I think that Crybaby continues to live on because you do love those characters.
Yeah, and it's great because it's so hyperactive, and these characters are based on archetypes, but there's something about maybe it's the filmmaking, maybe it's not even just the characters, but the performers, where you feel a real sense of camaraderie among them.
Yeah.
And instead of just being oh, I was just paid to be here, it looks like they're having fun.
Oh, I completely agree. Everybody seems like they had a good time making this movie. It seems like they really built relationships. Right. Even that rat was having a good time. He's so cute.
I guess it didn't do well in the box office, but who gives a crap?
No, it did not do well in the box office. This is a movie that very much became a cult classic after the fact. After Hairspray, John Waters got huge budgets. He was getting, I guess not huge. I want to say that the budget for this was $13 million, and the box office was $8 million, someplace in those vicinities.
So it's a bomb.
Yeah, it's a bomb. But not that $13 million is a lot for a movie, but he was getting bigger budgets. I think one of the reasons that he relied so much on songs on this one was because he was coming off of Hairspray, which was successful. Again, for me, they don't work quite as well. I could remove the songs from this film, add in a couple of additional scenes with Lenore.
Right.
And I would probably be equally as happy.
It's funny, though, that mentioning the music, because this automatically lent it to, after the success of Hairspray the musical, getting adapted into a musical that performed Broadway for like a year, I think.
Yeah, I think in
Not
like
very long.
2008.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to it. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know? But what's great is Adam Schlesinger from Fountains of Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
The late, great Adam Schlesinger. He was the one who penned the musical. I think he's great at that kind of thing, you know, putting on speaking of constraints, I think he was challenged to write the song for 60s pop song, which is why he wrote the theme to That Thing You Do and submitted it. Then after that, he's like, oh, I should just stick in the vein of writing pop songs. And he does a great job.
Yeah.
But that's another discussion. But anyways, he ended up doing the music for Crybaby the musical.
That's actually really interesting to me. So I was thinking about, I would never run out and buy the soundtrack. I like all the songs. I love rockabilly. I love 1950s pop. Those are genres that work really, really well for me and that I really enjoy. However, I would not run out and buy the soundtrack. But the musical, now I might actually try to look into that.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. I mean, give it a listen.
That's
give it a whirl.
I think I might. I think I just might do that. So on my channel, I like to give movies a rating out of 7 thumbs up.
Out of 7, okay.
Yes. What would you rate this movie out of 7 thumbs up?
Can you do decimal places?
Yeah, as many as you want. We have 7 thumbs right now. You can literally do whatever you want.
6.675 thumbs up.
Oh, that's a pretty close to 7 rating.
It's close.
That's good. I like that.
Again, I rely on this movie to refresh me a few times a year.
This is a movie that I have a super fun time watching, but I still think that I would not rate it all that high. I would probably rate it a 4 out of 7 thumbs up.
It's the Johnny Depp dancing.
It is. That's literally what it is.
It's just this big anchor.
And again, I want the original songs to be catchier.
Yeah.
I want to be going out of this being like, I need that soundtrack. I can't stop singing. I want it to be Hedwig. I want it to be Grease. I want it to be like, I want it to be a classic musical. And it's not really a musical. It's not really a comedy. I mean, it is a comedy. It's not really a satire, but it is a satire.
Yeah. It's more of a pastiche riff on those rebel movies from the 60s.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if anybody was expecting that in the 80s.
No.
It's like it's like that meme where it's like nobody, nothing, and then John Waters, goofy,
doing everything.
pastiche, rebel comedy movie, musical.
I definitely agree with that. And I love what John Waters does. This probably ranks lower on my favorites of his movies as well, unfortunately.
It's funny though, like, I know I told you I've seen a lot of his movies, but I don't remember.
Yeah, that's totally normal, I think. Yeah.
But the ones I do remember were his big 3 mainstream: Hairspray, this one, and Serial Mom.
Yeah. And I did just have a really fun time talking about Serial Mom.
Awesome.
Serial Mom was another one that I don't think I had ever watched the whole thing in one sitting ever before.
Really?
Like, these are movies that, like, they were just always playing all the time in the background. So, like, I thought that I had seen it all the way through, but I don't think I ever had. My
family, when a new video store opened up in my hometown, the very first one, they rented 2 VHSs, and one of them was Serial Mom. And he's 12.
It'll
His
be
sister's
great.
a little older. Yeah.
That'll be great.
This is the sound I heard throughout most of it. My mother. So I'm like, and you still let me watch? Okay, I'll get exposed to it sooner or later.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
The brown word. Thank you again so much for joining me. Will you tell me one more time where everybody can find you?
You can find me at Noise Appreciation 101 on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or at Noise App 101 on Instagram. Also, you can find me walking around town when I'm bored.
Thank you again so much for joining, and thank you guys all so much for watching, and I can't wait for the next one.
You got our take on this. You got it raw.